Hello everyone and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is DFree. Here today we're going to be talking about this math equation. There's a lot here. We're going to actually talk about a lot of stuff in this video, ranging from things like what this means, what we're going to expect on the banner, the upcoming couple of weeks of timeline, and when I expect another Legends limited unit in the game. So we're going to cover a lot of stuff here, so please bear with me and listen through the video if you could. And on top of that though, let's go ahead and get into it. So this equation popped up on the official Dragon Ball Legends Twitter pages last night, about midnight, pretty much for me. So last night, right? I'm not a mathematician. I'm not particularly great with math. It was always a bad subject for me in school personally. Some of you guys can relate to that, I imagine. On top of that, though, I did ask on Twitter for people to kind of figure this out. Now, last night, there was a lot of different answers, ranging from like 3 to 4. Some people were even saying it's unanswerable because the I in there. Like, there's a lot of different stuff that kind of happened. But one thing that happened was we reached a consensus that the answers are like 16.9 or something like that. And pretty much one way it rounds up to 18, or not 18, excuse me, 17. And if we get two equations, both equaling 17, and the top one is actually in a black border, as you see the black outline here, right? A black box. And this one's in a, I don't know, yellowish, brownish one, right? So, long story short, the general consensus right now is that this all means black outfit, regular Dragon Ball Z 17, and then trench coat 17, right? Yeah. So that would mean, oh, hey, two 17s. Either we're getting them as individual cards, which I mean, we'll get eventually, but I don't think that's this. I don't think that is what they're trying to tell us here. But general consensus is we're getting a Super 17 card, right? Now, I don't particularly mind Super 17 coming. I know a lot of people are, oh, why Super 17? Give us baby, give us that. Everything is going to come with due time. It's just more or less, so it doesn't really matter, right? It's just more or less patience. It doesn't really matter. But what I will say is, even though for you, and this is probably something that some of you guys can kind of agree with or relate to or whatever, like maybe for you feel differently, but even if for you feel like this is a character that is incredibly hype and you're excited about this and you want him and you've waited for him and you've saved for him, because there are going to be people that feel that way, right? That's fair. I can tell you he is not going to be profitable enough to come by his own. Come on his own, excuse me. Come by himself. He borders on not even being hype enough to get a teaser on Twitter. I don't know why they decided to tease him specifically, because another thing I'm kind of expecting, and what a lot of people are expecting now too, is some variation of Goku. Base form, GT Kid Goku doing the Dragon Fist is probably the most likely scenario, but you could even get SS2, SS3, or the very unlikely SS4, which I hate the notion people say you gotta wait for something. I've mentioned this in videos. They don't have to, even though I think SS4 Goku and Vegeta would be a good candidate for year 2, but who knows, man. Anyways, yeah, so like, yeah, this character can't come on his own. He's 7th in before, man. He comes by himself. I will say, this is most likely not going to be a legendary finish unit, nor is whatever his counterpart that comes alongside him is, because of some things we'll talk about later on. Again, I do not think this is a Legends Limited type of banner. I think this is just a regular banner. So again, here's the answer to that. A lot of people were saying that the answer did reach out to 17. So here's a post from Goresh where he kind of goes over some of the same stuff that I've laid out. And he says here, you can feel free to pause if you'd like to read it. He says that he thinks the Legends Rising banner with Super Android 17 and base form GT Goku. And he also mentioned that they do have that, and this is something that we have to continually mention every time, but they have the image here with the challenge battle, or challenge rush, excuse me, for androids, with the tag listed here that's all question marks. They haven't revealed whatever that tag is, so that could be something tying into all of this content that's coming out, presumably tomorrow for the matter. Yeah, I expect this stuff to come out tomorrow. There's probably going to be a maintenance announcement soon, today or something like that, and this will come out tomorrow, is what I'm expecting. Or whatever, you know, reset is for you. That's like early Wednesday morning for some people. For me, that's Tuesday night. But yeah, that's pretty much what he's talking about here overall. He also mentions he doesn't think SS4 Goku's coming, which I would agree with. It's possible. Again, anything's possible, but I wouldn't agree with that. Or obviously, I would agree with Goresh's insight there overall. So next thing I want to kind of talk about here is some of pre-existing GT stuff, and then also kind of talk about how the Android 17 could potentially be handled in ways that it could impact teams that are already in the game. So meta real though, I'm secretly hoping that Android 17 has the merging tag, so that way he has another buddy. Metarildo just doesn't really have anything. He needs stuff. I don't know. I wish he came out today. He'd probably get the hit treatment, where he buffs the tag, but also buffs the color counter tag. So hit came out buffing yellow and blue. This character probably would come out buffing red and green, because that just makes the most sense. But I'm secretly hoping that we get a merging tag bonus from 17 at some point. I don't know, right? Again, the whole video is predicated on 17 being the talking point, whether it's him or not. It's not confirmed, but we'll find out probably tomorrow. That's what I'll say, tomorrow. So I do hope we get something like that, or even a general GT tag. I'd love for this to happen, man. The thing about this is, what it would do is it would help units tie in better from GT overall. Like Rildo, he'd finally have a place on a team that's not a mono team, excuse me. But the other characters are not going to have this issue. The Goku and Vegeta variants, even Baby by extension, should all have good teams. And then the Shadow Dragons they're definitely going to create a Shadow Dragon tag and buff them. I think that's most likely going to happen. Like, this isn't going to be an issue for like any other character. Hybrids are fine. Trunks, any variation of Trunks from GT is fine. You know, Pan is fine on hybrids, or Sun Family, or like, you know, they're all going to be fine except for Rildo. It doesn't matter. He's the odd man out, bro. So I really hope he gets some sort of love. Again, any GT Goku variant, no matter what type it is going to be fine on Saiyans or whatever other team. Sun Family, it's all going to be a thing, man. Vegeta too, Vegeta Family, Saiyans, whatever. So, as far as the game is concerned, we're going to actually kind of transition into, after this point here, talking about some of what I expect to happen with the Legends Limited unit and go from there. So, here's an example of another Fusion android. So this character has absorption instead. It just depends on how literal or liberal they are as far as like whether he's going to get, when it comes to 17, Fusion Warrior or absorption or merging. They're all similar concepts, similar anyway, to where, again, it just depends on how liberal they want to be with it. Now, here's an example of that, and this character is able to impact Fusion Warrior and Android overall. Now, this is our best Red Fighter on Android specifically, so I want to kind of look at Androids as a color and look at some holes that they could potentially have. There are none. This team, every color is fine. They're all fine. They're all literally fine. But since they've been buffing other colors lately, except for yellow, I would imagine, if I'm being honest, that 17 is probably a yellow unit. Just because okay, I'll say yellow or blue. I'm not going to say red because they've dropped 2 reds. They dropped this purple, and they buffed the Android 17 purple. Green actually is a good candidate, but I really hope it's not green because I really like 14. Yellow, though, I will say is the only color here, aside from blue, that only has one sparking that buffs the tag. Right? Obviously, there's more down here that are a part of the tag, but they don't buff the tag. Man, I don't know what would be a great color for him. Yellow just isn't it, though, because Cell is the best unit in this group, so probably not yellow. I wouldn't be opposed to it being blue, to be honest. I wouldn't be opposed to it being blue at all. Like, I like this guy. I don't really care. All right, so here's Fusion Warrior, though. Again, this guy doesn't buff them, so you kind of just use him as your red if you would like to. You're perfectly fine not using him, though, because Vegito exists, and if you really, 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 really want to, Super Gogeta is still a thing. This color, though, again, doesn't really need much support, unfortunately, from 17, and I imagine that he probably would be on this team, though, for the record. So let's talk a little bit about timeline. So one thing that was pointed out to me over the course of the last few days or so by a Twitter user, I believe his name is Legendary Man. You know who you are, I'm sorry. That I hadn't really put a lot of focus on or paid a lot of attention to is there are actually several patterns in the game. Now, I've talked about some of those patterns, most notably the Broly movie stuff in relation to the female stuff that's come into the game both previous times, right? Now, obviously, that's still something I think about, but one of the main patterns in the game is the release of Legends Limited units. So let's take a look at our first release of a Legends Limited unit, which I apparently closed that tab out. So Step Up Volume 2, the second Step Up, the one that introduced Beerus. There's a whole lot of banners, bro. That was gonna be right about. God, man, where's that banner? Here it is. The New Year's Step Up. Okay, yeah, New Year's Step Up. They called some of these Step Ups some different stuff. Okay, New Year's Step Up. This one introduced Beerus. This one came out on Christmas. Yay! So, for the record, I don't think the units are going to be a Legends Limited unit because I meant to mention this earlier in Goresh's post. I need to go back and fact check it, but I mean, he mentioned stuff, and it's generally true. He says that they've never teased anything but a Legends Rising banner over Twitter. So if you're expecting this banner to be 17 and an LF Goku, whatever variation of Goku it is, that's highly unlikely. Highly unlikely since it was teased over Twitter. Keep that in mind. And that's going to be the general premise of this next part of the video. Again, that was a Twitter teaser, excuse me, and they haven't teased anything other than Legends Rising banners. And our most recent Legends Rising, for example, is this. If you experience this banner, you know what this banner is. Came out with a few new characters, 2 new, and then also 2 new EXs. Yeah, was that the banner Nail was on? Maybe it was the Goku banner. Regardless, though, at least these 2 guys were new. So we're going to go ahead and take a look here. So this banner came out on Christmas Day, right? This banner came out on March 12th. So give or take 2.5 months or something like that. So we have a scenario here where they waited about 2.5 months in between. Now, I don't really hold this as any, like, key indicator, because this is when they first started doing Legends Limited. Like, this was Beerus wasn't even called a Legends Limited unit at the time, you know? And he still, to this day, is the only one without a legendary finish. So, like, any ticket exclusive unit or anything like that, that's the term they came up with pretty much after this. So this came out on the 12th of March. And then we have here, this came out on May 8th. So, give or take whatever days are in there for the months, pretty much 2 months, right? So there's about 2 months in between all these banners so far that we're looking at. And again, give or take any of the in-between days, like this month goes up to 31 days or whatever. So here's our next Legends Limited unit. This is Vegito, and obviously Vegito had multiple variations of banner releases during the anniversary, but this came out on the 2nd of June. So this actually came out about a month after the Goten, which was interesting to me at the time, but I felt like they really wanted this to come out before Vegito. But also we're in a weird spot because the anniversary was forced to come up at pretty much a certain time, right? It's an anniversary. So I don't really, again, this is a month difference. It could be relevant. I don't think it too much is, though. I feel like they really wanted to follow this 2-month pattern they had pretty much established, and then we're like, oh, hey, the anniversary's coming, right? Now, obviously, I'm sure that they have stuff planned out for months ahead in advance anyway, but still, it's just an interesting type of topic. But after Vegito, we pretty much wait 2 months. So Vegito came out on the 2nd of June. This card came out on the 6th of August. So, again, another 2-month period. So I said all this to say that tomorrow presumably is going to be the release of the 17 and whoever else he comes with. Again, I don't think he's coming alone. Whoever else he comes with should be tomorrow. Yeah, I know you guys know that the Gohan and Bojack thing is coming. That's coming next week. They always do this, and I've said this on several occasions in the videos. They always do this thing where they show that, but it doesn't come up the week. It comes up 2 weeks later, pretty much, and that's going to happen again here. I'm pretty confident in that, right? So if we have that banner for 17 this week, next week we have Gohan. Those 2 banners are both not Legends Limited units or anything like that, right? Those are characters that are just going to be on Ultra Space Times or Legends Rising type of banners. Now, since that's the case, the funny thing is, after the Gohan banner, that puts us at about 2 months. It's currently the 23rd of September, when I'm expecting Gohan's banner to come in about 2 weeks. Pretty much the following week after that puts us in the timeline to get another Legends Limited unit after that, based on what we've seen exhibited in the game already. So that's something really interesting to consider. Again, this game does weekly content, so it could be the week after Gohan's banner or the week after that, after Gohan's banner, when Gohan's banner's got about a couple weeks left to it before it expires, and maybe we're looking towards the next V-Jump, right, in that area. But, yeah, interesting stuff is coming nonetheless. So, again, I do think it's 17, right? It could be anything, but I think it's 17, like everybody else for the most part. I would ideally like to get a Dragon Fist Goku. I actually asked about a Dragon Fist Goku the day before on Twitter, which is funny. So I really hope that's the case. But anyways, let me know what you all think. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it to the end, and if you didn't skip around, right? If you actually listened through all of this, because I had a lot to explain, I really, really appreciate you, and I really appreciate your support. Also, comment down below. I made it to the end, and I'll be sure to leave you a heart. As many as I can, because if the video gets a couple days, I'm probably not going to be checking it anymore. But thank you all, and I'll catch all of you in the next one.